Okay, here is my video on how to use and test the Astro A50 wireless headset and microphone. I'm primarily going to focus most of my time on the actual microphone settings. If you can hear me now in this sound, my voice is currently being recorded on the headset itself, which is actually on tournament mode and warm. So I know it's a little bit confusing with the software, so I kind of figured it out a little bit. So I figured let me show everybody to help them out a little bit. The first thing I did was I actually plugged in the base of my headset into my PC, and then I started the software. So once you start the software, it will recognize that your headset is plugged in. So then this interface will come in. I will tell you, I think the cable is not made perfectly that plugs into your Xbox One or PC. So I did have to wiggle it around a little bit, tighten the connections, and then this interface actually comes in. So I did have that issue. But here's the Astro Command Center interface. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And the default settings for the microphone are home and I believe bright. And I know when I had it on that, sometimes people tell me I sounded like a robot and whatnot. Um, but I currently use it on tournament, warm, and I boost up the USB mic level almost all the way, probably like 95%. So that's what you're currently hearing now, and I'll play with it. And I think from what I'm being told from people that hear me is that that's actually a little bit loud, but I like to be loud. That way, if I'm playing in the middle of the night, I don't have to scream into the microphone. So I'm gonna do a test of the different sounds, and you be the judge for yourself what you think you like better. So the default settings are probably something like this. So this is how it works. You click on what you want. This is the default setting, and probably on bright. And then the mic level was probably somewhere around here. That's the default setting. And then after you change the settings the way you like, you have to click sync to device. So I'm gonna do that now. See, and then when that's done, now what you're hearing me now is this is on the home setting, bright setting, USB mic level. This is probably about 60, 70%. So this is the default settings on Astro A50 microphone. So I don't know if you like this sound, but this is the default settings. And I think if you leave it on the default settings, it's not the greatest setting in my opinion. Um, so let's try something else. And you really have to kind of figure this out. I think the only way to do this is really test it on your PC. And I recorded it on voice recorder, which I'm actually doing now. See, this is the voice recorder option in Windows 10. So this is actually how I'm going to put the sound into this video. Okay, so that is the default setting, which probably doesn't sound great. So one of the first things you probably should do is I jack up the boost. Probably I'll leave it here. Okay, I jack that up, and then I'll sync the device. Okay, so it probably got a little bit louder. All right. So this is home, bright, and the USB mic level jacked up probably about 90% right now. Let's change it to another setting. So let's try streaming. Okay, and if you hold it over each setting, it tells you what each thing is for. So for example, right now it's on home, streaming. It says, I don't know if you can read that, lowest noise gate setting, ideal for quiet studio home environments, offers the most natural sounding voice and will allow background noise in if present. The nighttime setting says our least aggressive noise gate setting, very lightly gated, allowing for quiet natural speech, ideal for late night gaming sessions. Home setting, I currently have it. This is the default Astro setting, tuned for smaller LAN environments and typical home settings. Removes most light ambient noise. Tournament. Oh, this is what happens. Hold on. Back. Sorry. That's what happens. I think the connections are not great. All right, tournament. Our most aggressive setting, this is tuned for the main stage, extremely aggressive, meant for talking loud and eliminating crowd noise. The least natural sounding and also adds a noise gate to your side tone to eliminate crowd noise bleeding into the headset. So, not sure what that all means, but I will tell you when I recorded my voice, I like the tournament setting. So, that's your personal preference. So So there's actually, when you hold the mouse cursor over each one of these options, it basically tells you what each thing is, okay? It doesn't tell you for the equalizer, bright, area, warm, so you really have to go with what you like. I personally like warm. So let's test streaming. Okay, this is streaming. All right, I'm gonna put everything on warm because that's what I personally like. So I'm not gonna test the mic equalizer, bright, airy, warm. I'm gonna leave that up to you. Warm, I think, is the most natural sounding. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll do every single one. So this is warm on streaming. Okay, so now this is what I sound like with the streaming setting and warm. Okay, let's go to night. Okay, so now this is how I sound on the night setting in warm. Let's go to home again. Okay, so now this is my voice on home and warm. And this is how you're going to sound to people in your party or in game chat. Now, this is my favorite setting. I use tournament and warm. Okay, so this is my favorite setting. It's on tournament and warm right now. So like I said, I think I like warm better. This is my favorite setting. I also jacked up the USB mic level. I'm not going to show you what the side tone option is because I reduced it all the way, and I don't really think it made a big difference. So I left it jacked up all the way. I couldn't hear a difference, so I'm not going to do a test of that. But when I reduced the side tone all the way down, I couldn't tell the difference. Okay, so my favorite setting, tournament and warm. Okay, you know what? I might as well. I'll do it real quick. So I'll do each setting and each mic equalizer setting. Let's go to streaming, bright. Okay, this is streaming and bright. This is streaming and bright. This is how it sounds. Streaming and airy. This is what it sounds like on streaming and airy setting. Okay, now this is what it sounds like on streaming and warm setting. This is the streaming and warm setting. So let's go to night mode, bright. Okay, this is night mode and the bright setting. Night mode and bright setting for the microphone. Okay, now this is night mode and airy. This is night mode and airy. Okay, now you're hearing me night mode and warm. This is night mode and warm. Okay, now this is the home setting or default setting and bright. So this pretty much sounds default, just the USB mic level is jacked up a little bit. Okay, this is home setting and airy. Home setting and airy. Okay, this is what the mic sounds like on home and warm. This is what I sound like on home and warm. Okay, this is what I sound like tournament and bright. Tournament setting, tournament noise gate, bright mic equalizer. Okay, this is the setting on tournament and airy. Tournament and airy. This is what I sound like tournament and airy. Now here's the setting I use. Okay, tournament and warm. Tournament and warm. So this is the default setting. I'm sorry, not the default setting. This is the setting that I use when I play on the Xbox One. I have the mic jacked up to about probably 95, 90%. It's on noise gate as tournament. Mic equalizer is warm. And that is what I use. Okay? So hopefully that helps some of you guys. I know I've been reading a lot of forums that the Astro A50 mic has been a problem. It's been a problem in all the A50 headsets. But I tweaked it and I got it to where I like it. And I'm actually speaking a little bit louder than I do when I game probably. So I apologize for that. But I got it to a setting where I actually found that it does make a difference. So you really do have to tweak your microphone settings. I would not leave it on the default setting. Okay, so hopefully that helps a lot of you with fixing your mic for the Astro A50. Remember, these headsets are wireless too. So if you have other things at home on the 5 gigahertz band, I think you probably need to change to 2.4 or whatever else you have that maybe can be on 2.4. So if you have like your iPhone or any other thing on the same 5 gigahertz band on your router, I would try to make that the 2.4 because you don't want any interference with your headset while you're gaming. Okay. And I figured since I will show you the Command Center, Astro Command Center software, here are the equalizer presets for how the sound actually comes out. So what I basically did was, what you have to do, and I can't really show you on the headset because I'm wearing it, but those of you that actually have it, you have 3 different equalizer modes on the headset. So right now I have it in Astro mode. I'm going to slide it down on my headset. Now it went to Pro mode. You can't see this, but I'm sliding it on the right ear cup on the back. I slid it down to Pro mode. So you have a switch that goes from Astro Pro Studio. Now just slid it down to Studio, okay? So here are the different EQ settings. And what I basically did was, okay, I usually use Pro mode, and what I did was I wrote down all the EQ settings in Pro mode, and I kind of tweaked it myself. And then I adjusted the Astro setting to what I'd liked. So to explain how to set the EQ setting, it's a little bit complicated. What I basically did was I just plugged in my headset to the PC, I put on different videos, and I just constantly changed the settings, okay, until I found what I liked. So just to explain the EQs a little bit, I am nowhere close to an audiophile expert, but this is what I found. If you want more bass, the lower bandwidth is what you have to increase if you want more bass. So as you can see, I jacked it up all the way to 7 decibels, so I probably have the most bass. If you want more treble, you want more detail, you raise the higher bandwidth. So the 6100 hertz, I jacked it up all the way to 7 decibels. So I have the most bass and the most treble, and everything in between is basically that. It's in between. I played around with it, and these are the settings that I liked. So what I also did was I reduced the treble all the way down, and it basically just sounded like very dull, too much bass. So you have to really play with it and see what you like. And these are called like the mid-tones or whatever you want to call it. But I basically went off the Pro mode. Okay. I wrote everything down. You see they have basically almost max bass, not a lot of treble. Okay. They have the mid treble jacked up. I based on these numbers, and I wrote this down because I don't want to mess up the default settings just in case I ever want to go back. And I just tweaked the Astro setting to how I liked it, similar to the Pro setting. Okay. I have these jacked up all the way, and the mid-tones, I have them down a little bit. And I really spent a lot of time trying to figure out which sound I really liked. But, before, with Astros, you really had certain preset options with the mix amps. With this, at least, now you can really tweak the EQ settings. It's just, it takes time to actually find the sound that you like. So, and there's different presets here too. I'm not going to go into these, but you click on these, you can change them, you can tweak the EQs any way you like. But I didn't do that. I'm pretty simple. I left it on I'm going to call it Astro. Okay. So this is the default Astro setting. Here's the media setting. Okay. I'll leave it on Astro because that's what I had. All right. I'm gonna have to put this back. Okay. Hold on. This is what I had it at. So I just hit revert. Okay. So that's the equalizer presets. So here's the microphone. I don't stream, but you could tweak that here too. And there's other different settings here too. I didn't mess with this simply because I think the default settings for this is fine. So the voice game chat, I leave it in the middle. Alert volume, it beeps basically when you get to the beginning where you have no volume, and the end where you maxed out volume. And base station brightness, the lights on the front of the base station, I just leave it at max brightness. So like I said, I think this is most important to fix your A50 mic. So I would go ahead and play around with this, and hopefully this helped you all a little bit. Okay, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks.